Top-ranked UFC heavyweight Marcin Tybura, who is back in action at the end of the month at UFC 267. Marcin, great to finally sit down and talk. How are things with you today?
Yeah, everything's well. Hey, what's up, everybody?
I want to first and foremost talk about an Instagram picture that you posted earlier on in the month, in which you were training with the light heavyweight champion and fellow Polish fighter Jan Blachowicz. Talk to me a little bit about how often, first of all, how often you and Jan train together, and what have them training sessions been like?
Right now we not train often because we are in a separate gyms, but we used to train together in the same gym for like 2 years, and we moved to our gym fall apart, and we moved to a different cities. But right now we are just trying to meet as much as possible and help each other to spar. So I spar with him 2 times on preparing for this fight. It's very good occasion because we're fighting on the same card. So and also we have we are good sparring partners for each other, because I'm kind of known of the style that Glover Teixeira present, and Janek is a striker, a very good striker. So that's what Alexander Volkov does, and Janek is a world champion. It's a tough sparring to spar with him. He's a great athlete, great fighter. So I wouldn't say any details about it, but the sparring was very good. It was great experience as usual.
Are you located in Poznan? Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Yes. And where is Jan located? Where is Jan's gym?
In Warsaw, the capital of Poland.
How far away are them two? Is it a long commute between the two?
It's 300 kilometers.
It's a lot of traveling to then go and step in the cage with a world champion.
Yeah. Well, it's like I always go to Warsaw to do some other stuff, like media or something. So that's I'm doing sparring with him with some other occasion too.
Yeah. I've never actually been to Poland, but I've always wanted to go to Warsaw. To be honest, there's a book that I read. I don't know if you've ever heard of this book. It's called Miller 18. It's a book set in World War II in Warsaw, talking about the German occupation. It was a fantastic book, and it's ever since I read this book, Miller 18 is as a house number where the book is set. I've always wanted to go to Warsaw since reading this book, but hopefully one day I will get to your great country.
You're very welcome. You're welcome. It's Poland have lots of places to visit. The Warsaw, the history of getting damage, but any other places, lots of other places in Poland that you can visit. You're very welcome.
Thank you. Well, I want to talk about the fight at hand, of course. On the 30th of October, you'll be stepping in against Alexander Volkov. First and foremost, opinions on Volkov's style as a matchup in comparison with your skills.
I would say he's, as I said before, he's a striker. I see him that he go forward with his reach, which is very long. He know how to use his reach, and he uses a little bit like a karate style, and he doesn't. As I see him, as I remember his fights, like before, he wouldn't care about give up the takedowns, and because he wasn't worried about fighting from the back, and I don't think he paid that much attention to a ground game and wrestling. He used those long reach, the legs and hands. On the other side, I think I feel right now I feel equally in every aspect of the MMA right now, and as I see a stand-up would be even with him, I will have an advantage in grappling and wrestling.
If we look at Volkov's last couple of defeats, one defeat was obviously the Curtis Blades fight, where he was held down for large portions of that fight. Is that a game plan you feel like you can implement along with the striking to get the takedown and hold Volkov there?
It's not the plan. I don't have like plan like to, to go for the takedowns right away, or something like this. But always lately, as I go to fight, I'm always trying to to see what my opponent does, what is his speed, what is his power, what he represents in a stand-up, because I see those fights in a stand-up like much better to watch for the audience, and if it's possible to to keep it in a stand-up, I will. If not, I will go for the takedown. I think that's the smartest plan for everyone. If you're not going good in any of the in stand-up, you just go for a takedown, and if your opponent is better in grappling, you just keep it stand-up, and that's it. But it's not a good plan to just have a plan to take him down, to keep him there, and just winning by points. I think you have to be open-minded in a fight too. Of course, we train how to take him down, but also I train how to stand up if he takes me down. So preparing for everything.
You talk then about watching tape on your opponents. How much research do you do when preparing for a specific opponent? How much tape have you watched on Alexander Volkov?
How much tape?
How many of his fights have you watched? Are you somebody who watches a lot of tape?
Not many. No, I know Alexander Volkov because I watched those fights before.
Okay.
And I know the style. I have a really good bond with my coach, which actually is kind of responsible for all my winning lately, and we really get along very well. So whatever he implements to do, I trust him, and we do it. So he watched lots of fights. I just watched like 2 maybe, but I remember his style like from before, know how he fights. So
yeah,
it's not a big thing.
We know how Alexander Volkov fights. We know he is primarily a striker, and as you said, he likes to use his reach. Is it comforting going into a fight and almost without having to watch too much tape, knowing what your opponent is about? He's going to want to try and keep this fight on the outside and keep this a technical kickboxing match.
It's how I do. I did it before. Like, I don't watch many of my opponent fights. I don't go for like every detail and try to train how to react for this, because you cannot get a reaction for every move of your opponent. I like to keep it basic, like the fight is a fight, like go and just the fight, not like you trying to be prepared for everything. But it's a sport. We train how to defend. His striking, we know how what's his how he like to strike, how he like to kick, how to defend it, how to encounter him. So that's what we do, but everything of that, it's all this plan is made by my coach. So that's his job.
You are currently ranked as the number 8 heavyweight in the UFC. Volkov is ranked as number 5. I'm going to ask you this as a plain question. Is this the biggest fight of your UFC career?
Well, I wouldn't say so, because I fought Fabricio Verdum, and I was ranked number 8 at this moment. I don't remember what rank he was, but he was.
I think he was number 3. I think.
Yeah, he might be. So I would say Fabricio Verdum is a bigger name in MMA than Alexander Volkov, but it's a bigger fight.
Yeah.
I think this one is more important fight for me, because right now I'm just on a different mindset. Right now I just feel like I belong here. I know how to fight with top 10 fighters, top 5 even fighters in the world, and I'm more confident about my skills right now. So that's bigger fight for me than Fabricio because of that aspect.
Okay. I want to talk about this winning streak that you're on at the moment, this 5-fight winning streak that has seen you get to the real top end of this heavyweight division. Can I ask, have you been doing anything differently on this run of form? Is there anything that you've changed in your training that has got you such good victories lately?
Yeah, we know there's lots of things change, but not many of them I can explain that easily because
Okay.
lots of them has, as I said, it's a mindset.
Yeah.
A little bit different. I had this fight with Fabricio, with Derek Lewis. I lost it, and at this moment I just don't feel like I'm able to compete with those fighters from top 5. And I had like a really rough a year with those losses, and then I was trying to figure what to change, and I start to thinking that I have to train harder than others. I wouldn't say I was lazy before, because I wasn't. Every coach I work with would say to you that I'm a hard worker, but I just figure I need to do more. I need to do just more, and I'm doing more. I'm doing more than my other, the training partners. I'm doing more than I think other fighters, and I'm much more motivated. I'm trying to be positive about every hard work that I do, which not always, pleasant thing to do. I'm trying to be, I'm trying to think positive about everything, and be, confident about I'm going to win. And also the other thing that changed, which is easier to to notice, it's like it's that like I changed the gym that I told you. I changed my coach.
Yeah.
I had this fight, the winning strike start when I trained in States in Syndicate with coach John Wood. Yeah, but then it was pandemic. I couldn't travel, and then I had to move to Poznan here in Poland and start with Ankros with Andrzej Kościelski, and that was that was kind of coincidence because of pandemic, but it turns out that would be the best matchup for me and this guy, because whatever he told me to do, I'm doing it, and he knows what to implement, what techniques works for these fighters, what what's the plan for your opponent, and we have like whatever he tells me, I can do it. If he's not there, I probably would go back to being myself before.
I don't know if you know this phrase, but there's a phrase in England which is called a blessing in disguise. Do you know that phrase? Is this what this is? A little bit moving back to your home country and back to your coach, and things kind of falling back into place?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
I do want to talk about this 5-fight winning streak, but I want to talk about the last 2 specifically, the knockout wins over Greg Hardy and Walt Harris.
Yeah.
You've had 1 bonus in the UFC before these 2 fights. Now you've won the performance of the night 2 times on the run. What have you spent anything on them bonuses at all, or have they been put on savings? What have you done with the extra cash?
So you're saying if I spend them, that was the question?
So you won performance of the night versus Greg Hardy and Walt Harris. What has it been like winning that extra money, and have you spent any of it at all?
Yeah, it was great. I was actually probably the performance was because I always have this rough beginning of the fight, and I know how to handle it, and that was it. Yeah, but it's great. It's a great news that you work hard and those kind of things happen to you. Yeah, I spend them. I wouldn't say I spend them. I invest them. So
Invest them.
yeah, I just I'm made them work for my retirement.
What
So it's great.
have you invested in anything specifically, or has it just gone into the savings, if you like, into the bank?
No, I invest in real estate.
Oh, right. In Poznan specifically, or?
Yeah, also, yeah. I would like to invest some abroad, than Poland, but it takes time right now, and I'm just busy training.
Maybe you should call out Alaya Quinta as to fight as the best real estate agent in the UFC. I know Al's got his estate agency, but maybe you should call out Aya Quinta.
Maybe I didn't know that. So if I met him, I'll ask about.
Yeah, well, if you ever see Al, I believe, I'm not sure. Oh, Al is on the New York card the week after, but
Yeah,
yeah. What are the fights you're excited on this card? Is there anything that, obviously the prime focus is your fight, but is there anything you look at and go, that's a fight that I want to see when I get a chance?
Of course, the main event, the Jan fighting Glover. The Glover is a big name, and he's a great guy, great fighter. It's really excited that Jan has, this is excited that Glover have an opportunity to fight for the belt again, because I think he deserves, on his career, on long career, and how he handled it. But I'm cheering for Jan. I'm pretty sure he wins this. But this card, the main card is pretty excited. I would rather see Islam Makhachev fighting Dos Anjos, but yes, also Dan Hooker is a good matchup. But it's kind of a confrontation of the styles a little bit. So yeah, but other fights like Ozdemir and Ankalaev is also a great matchup. So I think if I would be able, I would watch the whole main card, but probably I won't be able. So every fight is excited there, and also it's a European time.
Yes.
For this card, so three Polish fighter on the card, so it's pretty huge for Poland. Poland MMA scene. It brings lots of attention for us right now, and lots of media, lots of happening, and people are just waiting for this evening.
Is the third fighter on the card Mikhail Alexeyev? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes, I thought it was. Yeah. How big is MMA in Poland? I'm just off the cuff. Is MMA a big sport in Poland, or is it more traditional sports that are the biggest?
I think it's as a martial arts, it's now the biggest sport in Poland. It's huge. The Brazilian jiu-jitsu scene is huge, and it's a bit connection between Brazilian jiu-jitsu and MMA.
Yeah.
And the both scene are big. Lots of small events in Poland, lots of fighters. It's in big TVs. The event like every week, so it's huge. It's huge. I don't know if I don't know what I know that in UK it's big, but I would say it's equal here in Poland.
Yeah. Listen, we obviously have the massive shows that happen in Poland under KSW.
Yeah.
But we've got so many big names in Polish MMA that are in the UFC. Obviously a champion in Jan, a former champion in Joanna. Do we ever see a UFC Poland? Do we ever see a UFC Poland on a pay-per-view? Is that a possibility?
I don't know if the pay-per-view is possible, because the only pay-per-view in Europe was in Manchester, I guess.
Correct.
The Bisping Henderson. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know. We have 2 fight nights in Poland,
Yeah.
and now it's pandemic, so it's really hard to see the future. But I'm hoping for this. I'm just I'm just working hard to get this title shot. So if that would be Jan Blachowicz have defending his title, and I would be
Wow.
contender. That would be a very good match for also the good main event for Poland would be Jan Blachowicz Iri Prochaska,
That would be
because Prochaska is Czech Republic, and it's really we are neighbors. It would be a big event.
I was going to mention this. I actually had a conversation with someone. I can't remember who it was, but someone at light heavyweight. If you actually think about the light heavyweight division, there is so many Central and Eastern European fighters at the top. We've got Jan, we've got Yuri, we've got Alexander Volkov, Volkan Ozdemir, Magomed Ankalaev. It seems a really European strong division. Correct? Do you agree with it? Even the likes of Gustafsson and even our own Paul Craig, there's a lot of talent in our continent in that division.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I just didn't recognize it before this way, but yeah. But European fighters are taking stronger in every division right now in UFC.
Correct.
Right now, interim championship for heavyweight, it's French guy versus French guy. So
yeah,
getting bigger.
I'll ask you about that fight because that looks like it's happening in January. Ngannou versus Gane. Who do you favour in that matchup?
I have a favorite in Francis Ngannou, but small one, because like before I didn't see Cyril Gane as that good fighter, but he proved it with this fights with Derek Lewis, so that he is as the level. But still, I think Francis learned, and he will have advantage in this fight, but a little bit. But it's a really exciting fight. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Now, I wanted to touch back on this fight and how big it is, how big the stakes are for you, because as I mentioned, you beat Volkov, you've then cracked the top 5. Is there obviously the prime focus is getting the victory at the end of this month, but is there someone you feel like would be next after this fight in order to get closer to that title shot?
Well,
of course, you can't talk too confidently, if you like, because the division changes so much. But where do you feel like is next?
Like a couple of weeks ago, I see the perfect scenario. I see the rematch with Derek Lewis. Like after it. Are you still there?
Because, yes, we're back. Yeah.
Yeah, I see the rematch with Derek Lewis. That would be a great matchup after Volkov, and that will get me to a title shot. But he's scheduled right now with those guys, and I don't know if there are any other fighters that Stipe Miocic is not scheduled right from top 5. I think the other fighters are scheduled, or no?
I know Blades has just fought Rosenstrike. Them 2 guys are in the top 5. I don't think they have fights at the moment.
There's not much fighters like in the top 5. So I do just have to wait until 30 of November and see.
Well, let's turn the conversation back to the fight at hand for one final question. Marcin, I don't know if you're a man who likes a prediction, but I'm going to ask you for one. What happens when you're locked in there with Alexander Volkov?
What happened with what?
Give me a prediction. What happens when you're locked in there at the end of this month versus Alexander Volkov?
I see the submissions. Round number 2.
Round 2 submission. You do realise that if I put a bet on Marcin Tybura round 2 submission, I have it recorded on camera and I will hold you accountable.
Well, so let's say that
I'm only kidding.
I wouldn't say submission for sure, second round finish.
Second round finish. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's a fantastic fight and a fantastic card, and I'm very happy that we could catch up today. And I'm very thank you for your time.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Before we finish, Marcin, how can people find you on social media?
How can they find me?
How can they find you on all your social medias?
I have an Instagram, Tybura Marcin, I guess, and Facebook, Twitter. Everything is marked with my name, so so it's easy to find me.
Perfect. Superb. Thanks for your time today, Marcin.
Thank you.